everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got an exciting one for you. I'm going to be talking about some very unique commanders that completely change how you go about building your deck. Let's jump into them. And of course, there is a handy-dandy link in the description below to all of these amazing commanders, and keep in mind that also I have deck techs on many of these as well, so check those out. That being said, Codie vociferous codex is one of my favorite commanders of all time. In fact, so much of a favorite of mine that I actually built and have two decks built around Codie vociferous codex because it is so unique, and the process that you go about building around Codie can be such a fun experience. A 1/4 construct for 3 mana, and immediately you see why this commander needs to be a unique build. You can't cast permanent spells. Literally a massive restriction that says, hey, you know what, you're not doing that. And because you're not doing that, you need to build your deck in certain ways. Either you need to build it with all, permanent spells, basically, essentially, or you need to find some weird ways, maybe like I did, where you start playing some, off-the-wall cards that let you play permanent spells in weird ways. By paying 4 also, you tap and you add Wooburg, and when you cast your next spell this turn, exile cards to the top of your library until you exile insert source card lesser mana value. Till end of turn, may cast a card paying its mana cost. Put each other card, exile spell at the bottom of the library, and add random order. Basically, with this, it's kind of like a mini cascade effect in a way, but again, very specific on hitting instants or sorceries. So essentially, you can build around something like Hypergenesis, like I did, and hit that consistently by having it be a certain mana value. Again, at 0, you cast 1 mana spells. If it's only 0 in your deck, you're hitting that every single time. And you can build around again in some very unique, interesting, weird ways. And again, restriction breeds creativity in some ways too. So yeah, Codie can be a great way to build around cards like Inevitable Betrayal, or again, just a spell slinger deck and not utilizing any permanents at all. Very unique, very fun commander to build around. Moving on, speaking of which, Extus, oriq, overlord. Okay, I mean, the front side of this is pretty sweet too, but the back side is where it's at. 2/4 human warlock with double strike for 4 mana, and Orzhov. Whenever you cast or copy an instant source spell, return target knowledge or creature card, I should say, for your graveyard back to your hand. So, by being able to recur things, that's cool, but again, the back side is where this is at, because Awaken the Blood Avatar is such a unique commander, because you can have a sorcery in the command zone, technically, with this one. It is 8 mana in total in Rakdos, but you're never going to pay that. Just cost to cast it. You may sacrifice any number of creatures. Cost 2 less cast for each creature sacrificed this way. Each one sacrifice a creature. Create a 3/6 black and red avatar token with whatever it attacks deals 3 damage each opponent. This is such a unique card that basically says, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to keep casting this again and again and again. You're going to utilize creature fodder to sacrifice things, to be able to cast this for cheaper. You're going to be able to utilize, maybe even your opponent's creatures by stealing their creatures, etc., etc. You can do so many cool things to keep casting this again and again and again for basically 2 mana. Utilize basically an edict effect every single time and make a board full of those avatars that, swing and damage. It is so much fun, and again, such a unique build building around this one because, how often do you get to build around your commander basically being a sorcery in your command zone? It's so much fun. Check it out. Moving on, we've got Stenn, Paranoid Partisan. Now, this one is unique like Codie in that, again, it can be a variety of builds, but in a different way. 2/2 human wizard for 2 mana in Azorius enters the battlefield, which is a card type other than creature or land. So don't build a creature deck around this, or a land deck, I guess, too. So you cast the chosen type cost 1 to cast, but paying 3 in Azorius. Exile Stenn, return to the battlefield. Aren't supposed to control the beginning extend step. So technically you can reset this essentially and go like, okay, well now I want sorceries. Okay, now I want artifacts. Yeah, I recommend that you actually just pick one, essentially, and build around that. If you want the most powerful build around this one, most likely it is... anyone out there? No? Artifacts. Artifacts are essentially a very broken thing when it comes to cost reduction, because artifacts typically have a generic mana value, and that's it. So being able to reduce that down makes it not only cheaper to cast, but also then eventually free if you've got other cost reduction effects out there. I mean, already just by playing this, you can play certain things free, too. So this is one where, again, you can build some very unique builds around this. You can hyper-focus on that specific type and go like, okay, this is literally an all-artifacts build around Stenn. I can just build all artifacts, they do some crazy things with it, or you can go planeswalkers if you want to. You can go instants, you can go sorceries, you can go enchantments. Whatever you want to build around it, you can. Battles, sure, probably not enough out there. That being said, again, artifacts is the most powerful way to go. You can build some really cool decks around this one. Next up, Volo, Guide to Monsters. Such a fun commander, and again, a fun challenge when it comes to deck building. A 3/2 human wizard for 4 mana in Simic. Whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. Yeah, this is really cool, and again, it makes deck building really very much a puzzle, which is so much fun to solve. And when a new card comes out, you're like, oh, that's a really cool new creature. Okay, how do I fit that in? Because this is a commander that literally wants to be the opposite of tribal. It wants you to be like anti-tribal in a way. It wants you to basically have no creatures that match up in terms of creature type. If you can do that, it makes it so that literally every single one of your creature spells is duplicated. You've got double the value out of them, which is absolutely crazy for a commander that just costs 4 mana to be like, yeah, I get an extra copy of every single one of my creatures. It's crazy, crazy good. But again, that restriction, again, breeds creativity. You got to be like, okay, oh, is this the only Sphinx I want in my deck? Okay, I only have one Sphinx. I don't know why I picked Sphinx. Or Elf. Okay, I only have one Elf in my deck. It's got to be this one. Or I've got one Dinosaur. Okay, it's got to be this one. You got to pick the right one of each creature type, essentially. Yes, you can have multiple. It's not, like, illegal to have multiple. But when it comes to actually building a very fulfilling version of this deck, again, that little puzzle of building around it, being like, okay, which creature types can I use? Which creature types do I not want to utilize again on doubles, essentially? Which ones can I, be okay with? If I've got, like, say, like, a, Steve, essentially, like, okay, I'm probably fine with another Snake or Shaman in the deck because I'm going to be sacrificing Steve, and it's not going to stay in play. It's a really fun puzzle. Pick it up, build around it. Moving on, Marisi, Breaker of the Coil. Now, this is one where some players out there might not realize just the power of this commander, because they might focus on one part of it, which is completely fine and fair. A 5/4 cat warrior for 4 mana in Naya. The part that most players focus on is whenever a creature control deals combat to your player, go to each creature that player controls, and that is so much fun, and that is so good. It really is. It is something that, again, you have like a flying men type strategy, lower the ground creatures, which there are tons of them, especially in white. Essentially, they're like, oh yeah, it's like a 1/1 flyer for 1 that also maybe has, like, I don't know, like lifelink or something. They're starting to give like more and more to those these days. That being said, you got low the ground invasive creatures, and you go, okay, I swing at my opponents, and all of a sudden, well, now they literally have to swing at each other. It's great. That being said, the part that gets kind of forgotten by some players is your opponents can't cast spells during combat. And that really is an amazing thing because, again, it changes a rule of the game while also, again, being, well, something that does not affect you at all. It allows you to still do that. So by breaking that rule and breaking that parity, you are able to do some crazy things, and you can build your entire deck around that. Again, a rule change, break a parity is so much fun to build around. And yeah, it can be incredibly powerful, and some players might not expect to get a Marisi build where you're like, okay, hey, you know what's happening with this one, actually? I'm going to be comboing off at instant speed during combat, and you literally cannot stop it because you can't cast any spells to stop me doing that. Sure, there are a couple abilities that could, but the chance that your opponent literally has, like, okay, Willbender, ha ha ha, no. You probably don't. Usually you're stopping, any kind of a combo with a counterspell, and you can't do that against this commander. It is such a fun commander, again, for a variety of reasons, but yeah, you can build it in a way, again, that is so unique, that is so out there, that really changes how you think about going about the deck by being like, okay, what can I do during combat that I don't want my opponents to ever be able to stop? Next up, how about a commander that really cares about mana value? The Imoti, Celebrant of Bounty, a 3/1 Naga Druid for 5 mana in Simic. It's got Cascade itself, and it says, hey, you know what? Spells you cast with converted mana cost 6 or greater have Cascade. So much fun. And again, the way that you go about building this is go, okay, what can I do about getting giant spells out there? I mean, ones that have a good mana value, potentially that have like other ways to reduce their cost or cast for cheaper, essentially, or cast multiple things, that I can get the most value out of that. That I can keep getting Cascade after Cascade after Cascade after Cascade, getting so much value that it just overwhelms your opponents. It is such a fun build, and just being able to go into Scryfall and going like, okay, mana value greater than 5. Cool. Yeah, let's just see what we got. Okay. Oh, yeah. Some really cool cards. Some ones that have some reductions. Build around those things and do some really big, powerful effects just here, there, and everywhere. Such a fun build. And again, a unique build, a unique deck, a unique commander to build around. Next up, a commander that changes the game in multiple ways and for multiple players. Lier, Disciple of the Drowned, a 3/4 human wizard for 5 mana in blue that does something that is very not blue, but also blue. Spells can't be countered. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is a massive way to change the game, essentially. Also says each instant source card in your graveyard has got flashback. The flashback costs equal to the card's mana cost. This is a crazy good, crazy powerful commander that literally, again, changes how the game works. I make it so that spells can't be countered. Well, yeah, when you're building your deck, you are not throwing in counter spells because you're not going to be like, yeah, this is just a dead spell in my hand. You also can utilize spells maybe that aren't necessarily counter spells, but more like remand, where it's like, okay, like, just bounce it back to your hand, okay? Like, the spell gets bounced back to your hand. It's not countered, it's bounced. Or one that helps you gain control of the spell, so it actually allows you to take over the spell. It's not countered, it's just yours now. So essentially, you can do some crazy things like that, where again, your opponents aren't building their deck in that way. They probably have regular counter spells. Again, Mana Drain's such a good card. They've got Mana Drain. It's pretty much useless against this commander because you can't counter spells. So being able to just have a way to stop their control, allow you to still control things, and allow you to reuse those cards, get instant sorceries out of your graveyard, building your deck around a ton of powerful instant sorceries, you can do some really crazy things with this interesting and unique build commander. Next up, though, Nikya of the Old Ways, a 5/5 Centaur Druid for 5 mana and Gruul. Again, massive, massive, massive restriction on you, kind of like Codie. You can't cast non-creature spells. So kind of the opposite in a way. I mean, obviously there's more permanent types with Codie, that being said, but like still, being able to only cast creatures is such a restriction. But the payoff is quite fun, because whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced, a mana doubler out of the command zone is crazy good. And being able to just go, yeah, I play this, and I play all my creatures, and here come some crazy fun things. Again, it makes it so that you really have to think about unique ways to build around this commander to make it still effective, because obviously, the vast majority of Extus out there, they utilize non-creature spells in many ways. Again, when it comes to removal, there's a lot of great non-creature removal spells. When it comes to, essentially, ramp, there's a lot of good ramp spells. You have to utilize creatures, essentially, for all of those interesting, kind of functions that your deck still needs. Again, card advantage. You need all these things to still work, but you've got a commander that can double up your mana to give you all the resources you could possibly need. You just need to find those within creatures. So when it comes to building around, this can be a fun way to go about it, because you got to push yourself a little bit. You've got to go, okay, where can I find creatures to fill that need? This is a great commander to challenge yourself, and one to, well, really challenge yourself when your opponents start targeting it too, because opponents don't necessarily like when you have, all that mana. So find ways to protect it as well. Such a fun build. Check it out. Pick it up. Moving on, a very odd commander. Get it? No? Okay, anyways. Yennett Cryptic Sovereign, a 3/5 Sphinx for 5 mana and Esper Flying Vigilance Menace. Whenever it attacks for the top card of your library, you may cast it paying its mana cost. To the mana value is odd. If you don't cast it, draw a card. This is a commander that essentially goes, hey, you know what's happening? Well, I really care about building a deck that is literally probably all odd cards for the most part. Maybe you got an even card in there, but come on, the challenge of actually just building an entire deck that is odd is hilarious and fun. Again, making it so that literally you just keep getting card after card after card of value. Finding ways, of course, to set the top of your library, but yeah, being able to just cast some massively odd cards, you can do some really crazy things with this one. It is so much fun to play around this commander, and it is so much fun to build the deck again, to literally restrict yourself and saying, yeah, mana value 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. No thank you at all. No thank you. I am just utilizing essentially, and I guess odd, or not odd. 0 technically isn't like odd or even kind of sometimes, right? But it kind of is more even. I think Magic says it's technically even sometimes. Regardless, being able to essentially utilize a commander like this for such a unique build where you're literally using like half the cards in Magic, and again, based off of mana value, it is so much fun to build around. You can do some really crazy, powerful things. Such a unique, fun build. And finally, the opposite of that, though, actually, technically, the only restriction is actually if you're building with this as the companion. But, of course, as a commander, gets forgotten about all as a commander. It's an amazing commander. Gyruda, Doom of Depths, a 6/6 Demon Kraken for 6 mana in Dimir. Again, companion restriction would be your starting deck only contains cards with even converted mana cost. Yeah, this is, again, as a commander itself, you don't have to worry about that. That being said, still building around that could be very powerful for you, because when enters the battlefield, each player puts the top 4 cards of their library in their graveyard. You get a creature card that even converted mana costs from among those cards on the battlefield under your control. Being able to go, okay, hey, yeah, I am making sure that I want to be able to hit creatures that have even converted mana costs, essentially, in my own deck. So being able to make it so that I have an absurd amount of even converted mana cost creatures, including maybe even exclusively even converted mana cost creatures, and maybe the entire deck is that, Yeah, I mean, you could definitely go that far if you really want to, but being able to essentially just do that, and yeah, the most fun build around this, the most powerful build, I should say, probably is clones, because clones typically are at 4, and you can do some really crazy, powerful things going, okay, I clone this. All right, the clone dies, but I get the trigger. Again, and again, and again, and again. And of course, some blink effects as well. You can do some very crazy, powerful things with this one, and again, a fun restriction, the opposite of Yennett in some ways, by going, okay, what's even? I need to build around that with an even one. It's very specific in the way you go about it, and it can lead to, again, a lot of the pressure, the kind of restrictions can lead to some really creative and unique things. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. As always, comment below your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.